You know, in the world of business, there's a quiet revolution going on. Companies are literally rewriting their playbooks, and it's not just about the bottom line anymore. They're starting to build sustainability right into their DNA. And this isn't just some passing trend, it's a really fundamental shift in how we even define and measure success.
For the longest time, the answer to this was pretty simple, right? Profit. But what if that's only part of the story? What if a company's real value isn't just about what it earns, but also about the impact it has on the world around us?
And that's what brings us to what you could call a new business scorecard. The old way of keeping score just isn't enough anymore. A whole new set of criteria is popping up, and it's changing absolutely everything about how we look at a company's performance.
And this change isn't just happening inside the company boardroom. The pressure is coming from all over the place. You've got investors who want to know how companies are handling long-term risks like climate change. You've got customers voting with their wallets for sustainable brands. And of course, regulators are creating new rules. The message is loud and clear. Businesses have to be accountable.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Performance is now a two-part equation. You need the financial success, but you also need to have a positive impact on the world. Being great at just one of those, well, it's not good enough anymore.
Okay, so how does this new scorecard actually work? To get it, we need to understand two key acronyms that are driving this whole shift: ESG and KPIs. They're basically the language of this new business landscape.
So let's start with ESG. This is the big picture framework. E is for environmental, which is exactly what it sounds like, how a company affects the planet. S is for social, which is all about people, how it treats its employees, its customers, and its community. And G is for governance, which is about how the company is actually managed, its ethics, and its transparency.
Then you've got KPIs, key performance indicators. The best way to think about this is to imagine a company as a car. KPIs are the dials on the dashboard. They give executives the real-time data they need to know if they're on track to hit their goals, whether those are financial goals or environmental ones.
And this is where it all clicks into place. On the left, you see the old-school KPIs, all about production numbers and profit. But on the right, you see the evolution. It's not just about how many things you can make anymore. It's about how much CO2 you emit for each thing you make. It's not just about profit. It's also about cutting down your water usage. This is what it looks like when sustainability becomes a core, measurable part of the business.
But metrics are just numbers on a page. So how do companies turn them into real, meaningful action? Let's take a look at how this data actually drives strategy and turns these abstract goals into real-world results.
The whole journey really starts with a simple truth. What gets measured gets managed. Before a company can even think about reducing its environmental impact, it first has to really understand it. And that means getting a super clear, data-driven view of its entire footprint, from the factory all the way to the customer.
So once you have that data, it becomes the foundation for a solid strategy. It all begins with tracking emissions, top to bottom. Once you have that baseline, you can set clear, science-based targets. And finally, you roll out the actual plans to hit those targets, whether that means investing in new technology or totally rethinking your supply chain.
And these aren't just empty promises. We're talking about very specific goals with deadlines. A company might say, for instance, we're going to cut our carbon emissions by 20% by 2030. When you make a public promise like that, it puts real pressure on everyone to actually deliver.
And here's what that accountability looks like in the real world. You can literally see the progress, that downward trend from last year to this year, with a clear goal for what's next. This is what we mean when we say sustainability is on the business dashboard, getting tracked just as seriously as the financials.
But making progress and taking action, that's only part of the story. The final and super critical step is communication. And that's where reporting comes into play. It's what closes the loop between what you do and being held accountable for it.
It's really important to get this. ESG reporting is so much more than just a boring compliance test. It's a strategic tool. It builds confidence with investors, it makes your brand look better, and it helps you attract and keep the best people. Plus, inside the company, it just creates this culture of accountability.
When it comes down to it, this is all about weaving sustainability right into the fabric of the company's story. It's about being transparent, not just about what you do, but how you do it and the impact your business has on the world. So, let's end with this question. When a company's impact on the planet becomes just as important as its profit margin, what changes? Well, the answer just might be everything.